So,
And everybody will get a prompt asking if they approve it. So
hello everybody. Welcome to our meetup. We meet in the Lehigh Valley. As soon as we're free someday, we'll meet once a month in Bethlehem and once a month in Allentown. You should get updates since you joined our meetup. We've wanted to have Jason speak for a while now. I think him and his wife came a few years back. Jason runs a plugin that makes membership sites. I don't want to say easy because easy is relative. Integrate with your WordPress site, but he'll share all that. And I've just started working for him and I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying learning about the plugin, and it can do so much when you customize. It's truly a WordPress product. So one thing about WordPress is it's open source, and this plugin is open source. So if you see what Jason has done and written and you want to change it, you can do that. So it's just a neat community. So I'm going to try to pass this on.
well, he's already sharing. He's already sharing his screen.
He's sharing. Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm not seeing him. Oh, okay. So he's sharing.
Did you have someone? Yeah, make sure you did. If you have someone pinned, you can unpin their video or something.
We are seeing your screen
I'm gonna go
right
with
now,
speaker
Jason.
view. All right.
Awesome.
There you go. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah. I kind of don't know how to see everyone's faces now, so it feels weird. I feel like you all disappeared, but I know you're there and I can hear you. Thank you for the introduction. I heard some people talk about being interested in specific kinds of membership sites for like digital downloads and for like co-working spaces or e-commerce in general. So I'll keep those things in mind. And at the end, you can ask me questions. If maybe Kim White, if you could monitor the comments, like when people chat. I don't know how to get back to the chat either. I think.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull out questions and put them on a sheet.
Yeah. So if you see something important come up in chat, like Jason needs to explain that again.
I'll just tell you. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. And I'll otherwise get into it. The demo I'd like to do, I've done this demo at a WordCamp in the past, is I'm actually going to install Paid Memberships Pro on a live website, live WordPress site that's out on the internet. And this time it's my personal blog, therealjasoncoleman.com, which I think I have a couple posts this year, and then there's a gap of like 7 years, and then some blog posts about me trying to lose weight or something like that. But I'm trying to write more often, and so potentially in the future I might try to monetize my blog. So that would be the use case that you're going to see here, is if you have a blog of content on WordPress and you want to monetize some part of it, that's what I'm going to be going through. But again, like I'll answer questions about different use cases. Because people use Paid Memberships Pro for all kinds of things. Someone mentioned that associations, Ken, I think said, are the big users of the plugin. So that, like, the one I always point to is the Beekeepers Association of just about every state in the US. Most of them use Paid Memberships Pro. There was a Beekeepers Association in Texas that set up Paid Memberships Pro first, and then they went to their conference and told everyone else to use Paid Memberships Pro to manage the association for their own beekeeper. And there's apparently a Beekeepers Association in every single state and every single country. And they all have websites. So it's kind of funny how online, people are meeting online and using Paid Memberships Pro sometimes for their membership site. So my site here, I'm actually using a theme called MemberLite, which is a theme that we built specifically for membership sites too. And this is free in the WordPress.org repository. And you can use it with Paid Memberships Pro. It was built specifically to be used with Paid Memberships Pro, but it actually can be used on with any membership plugin or no membership plugin. So if you're curious about my theme, that is what it is, and I use that on my own personal site too. And I have some links here. I shade this link in the comments so you can see that, or ping me later if you want to get this. It kind of just goes through what I'm doing. But yeah, let's kind of get into it. The other things to note, like this is a multi-site, and I'm going to be using the unreleased version 2.3 of Paid Memberships Pro, which should come out next week. So I'm hoping there's no problems, but I'm also kind of using this as a test run. So if things break down, we'll see. All right, cool. I have a WordPress site that should look familiar to you. This is my blog. And if you want to install Paid Memberships Pro, the core plugin is in the WordPress.org repository. So you can go, I'm multi-site again. So you'll see it looks a little different. But if you add new plugin and then you search for Paid Memberships Pro, it'll show up here. And you can install it from here. Now, I already have a version installed. Like I said, I have the newer version. So I can just go into plugins and activate it. And we'll cross our fingers that it plays nice. So this is working. When you activate, you'll come here. This is the Paid Memberships Pro dashboard. And we have some links for the initial setup. And I'm going to go through. So again, this is like my personal blog. I blog about investing and business and random things. But I imagine if I keep blogging about business, which I'm going to try to do this year, I might have like a premium account for certain kinds of posts, or maybe getting posts early or something like that. So I'm going to create a couple levels. The other thing I want to do is I'm trying to build a mailing list. So I have MailChimp already on the site, but you can integrate MailChimp with Paid Memberships Pro. And it's weird that I see the different versions. So I wonder if maybe I don't have the latest, or I didn't change the version yet. So some things are new, but the version number isn't different. So yeah, I'm integrating with MailChimp already, but I'm also going to integrate like my membership levels with MailChimp. So you'll see that. So I want a free level, which is almost a good idea on any website for marketing purposes. Like I want people to join. When they join, I can send them to my mailing list and I can give them access to certain things, not the paid content. So I'll go really quick through this. I'm just going to call this like the free membership. I might come up with a clever name later. We have a good blog post that my wife, Kim, who's a partner in the business, wrote about how to name your membership level. You can find that on the Paid Memberships Pro blog. But for now, we'll just give it a name, and there's no price settings. So now I have a free level, and I'm going to add a paid level too. So if anyone wants to call out like a cool name for my paying members, maybe it'll stick. The culminators, no.
Cool members.
What was that?
Cool members.
Cool members.
COOL.
Oh, cool members. All right, let's do it. Be in the
That's
cool
why
club.
they're
The cool
paying.
club. I'm gonna call it the cool club. Okay.
Cool club.
Join the cool club. So another thing you can do is there's a general description. This is shown a couple times, most notably when you check out. So we could put something here like, and this is where you would want to put like, what are the features you get when you join the cool club? So it would be to support Jason and encourage him to blog more, maybe. Almost like a Patreon style. And confirmation message. So the confirmation message is when people get the membership level that's shown to them on the confirmation page and potentially in the email they get. So you could, for instance, put a link to your digital downloads and assets and kind of tell them like, hey, here's all the cool stuff on my website and where you should go to get it now that you're a member. But I think I'll leave that blank for now. I don't necessarily know what I'm going to add there. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to charge. Maybe I'll charge $37 a month. I'm making it up as I go along. So I checked. So Paid Memberships Pro handles one-time payments and then recurring payments. And that's kind of the killer feature of a membership plugin, one that's tied to e-commerce, is the ability to do recurring billing. And so Paid Memberships Pro and a lot of the membership plugins did recurring billing before there was add-ons to do that with WooCommerce and things of that nature. So when you enter the payment, you can say it's, $37 when you check out, and then $37 every 1 month is how I'm setting this up. But there's different options for that. There's some other features like special trials, cycle limits, which is kind of if you only, that's like a payment plan. You like 5 easy payments at $37 if you want to do something like that, and different gateways support that. There's options to disable it, which doesn't make sense here. There's an option to set an expiration, which I don't want to do since I have a recurring level. So I want people to always be a member. It's not like you're a member for a year and then it expires. As long as you're paying, you're a member. And then we might get back to this. So yeah, you see these fat blogging. There was like a moment in time. I went on a podcast with Jason Calacanis, like in the early days of This Week in Startups. And I think he was trying to popularize that term, fat blogging. And I had been blogging about like trying to lose weight. And so I was a guest. But I don't think that term took off. But anyway, here you can lock down specific categories for membership levels, and I'm not doing that yet, but we might come back to here. Maybe I'm going to make like a member level category rather that links to the level. But if if there was, let me see, maybe I'll, just for the sake of it, like I'm going to lock down my fat blogging posts and make it so you can't read them anymore unless you're a member. You have to be a member to get the juicy bits. Cool. So now I have my 2 membership levels here. I'm going to continue on with the settings. We'll skip over discount codes for now, but that's something you can do, but you have to set up pages on your site. So if you, a lot of the more functional WordPress plugins require additional pages to work. So for example, WooCommerce in the same way has a checkout page and a shop page, and BuddyPress will create a bunch of pages behind the scenes. So Paid Memberships Pro has a bunch of pages that it uses to manage things. So I just said, hey, create pages for me. And then it created an account page, a billing page, cancel page, confirmation page, invoice page, levels page, all these pages. So those are created now. The next item I'm going to do a gateway setup. And I might stop the screen share for a second so you don't see my keys here. So the payment gateways, and feel free to ask questions about this later, but in the world of e-commerce on the internet, you have your WordPress website, and then in order to accept credit cards or get money from people online, you have to work with a gateway who integrates with the credit card companies. And it'd be nice to have a slide, or if you can see me hand wave here. So the credit card companies work with a payment gateway, and then the payment gateway integrates with Paid Memberships Pro, or we integrate with them, and we integrate with WordPress. So you're going to need a payment gateway in order to accept money online. And the most popular one definitely in the United States right now is Stripe, because they're kind of forward thinking, and their API is easy to integrate with. And probably the most popular one, or most known one, that kind of older, is PayPal. But here's a few that we integrate with directly in the plugin, and people have built add-ons for our plugin to integrate with some other gateways. So I'm going to show you what it looks like with using Stripe, and potentially PayPal as a second option. And maybe I'll pause the screen. What you would do is, maybe I won't. I think I'll just change my keys once I log in there. So if you go to Stripe and hit start now, it can, I've worked with new clients, and like within a day they get set up, and it gives you, like, you go through a formal application, you say what your business name is, or if you're just working for yourself, like you don't have a business, but you want to accept payment personally, tax-wise, you kind of fill out your social security number and stuff like that. And if they might do a credit check on you, I'm unsure, but if you're approved in some sense, like they'll give you access right away while they're working out the paperwork. So I've seen people like get up and running and accepting money like within one day, and definitely within a week. So don't wait to the last minute, but it's not such a hassle anymore to really get signed up. But I'm going to log in here.
Yeah, it would be nice if there was a blurring tool, or I think a drawing tool or something, but
yeah,
I'll have to look.
It's like a dev account. I'm not going to use my real account, so I'm using like a test account here. But once you're in Stripe, let's see, where do they put this info now? They change things around every once in a while.
It's under developers.
Is it?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in Stripe the last couple of days.
Thank you.
There's your API keys on the left. Sorry, right below developers.
Oh, here you go. All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome.
So, all right. So I logged into Stripe. I assume I already had, this is a test account, but they'll give you that. And if you have a live account, they'll set it up. So I go to developers, I go to API keys, and I can see in Stripe world, there's 2 different keys here, a publishable key and a secret key. So I'm going to copy these and put them into my settings. There's kind of a new system. If you've ever done OAuth for something, O authorization, like if you're linking Twitter or Facebook sometimes to your WordPress site, or I think there's Jetpack. Jetpack uses a different authentication method, but in the future, for Stripe at least, we're gonna move to a more OAuth system where you click a button here and it asks you to log in the Stripe, and then you get redirected back, and it kind of does some of this automatically. But this is a pretty popular way for most e-commerce plugins to integrate with an API. So you have to get the keys and then copy and paste them here. There's another piece of this called a webhook. So this is technical, and there's documentation. I might just hand wave over this. If I go back in Stripe, there's a webhook section, and you can, let's see here, create, maybe this is not the right spot. Endpoints receiving events from your account. Like Stripe literally updated these screens.
Yeah, no, you would add an endpoint. Like I said, I spent a lot of time in it the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And that's where you would put your webhook, your URL. And then what I would say is you would want to do all events down here on the bottom.
Yeah.
Instead of selecting, there's actually, if you get rid of that little pop-up box.
Yeah.
Jason, go back there. There's close that little box. Right below there's a reserve events, and then you add your endpoint.
Yep.
Because this way, you're not, unless there's only specific things you want to pick and choose, but adding all is.
We just we have some documentation on our site. So for Gateway Stripe, there's only 4 that we actually use.
Oh, okay.
So you could search for these, and this is new, right? So that, and we're going to try to make this even easier. Like there's a way we could do this through the API now to have it set up the webhook, so you don't have to worry about it. But again, this is kind of common with any kind of e-commerce site. So you could just keep this in the back of your memory if you end up using a different e-commerce plugin. But this is basically, so when I put the API keys in here, that's how I communicate over to Stripe. So when people come to my website, I send the credit card information to Stripe in a sense and like figure things out. Sometimes Stripe has to communicate back to your website, and that's basically what this is setting up. It's saying, hey, you can ping me here, and you can hit either all of these different events. Stripe now will warn you if you have so many that it might slow down your server. I'm not so sure. I mean, maybe Stripe is doing more than it used to, but I think they're more worried about them slowing down their servers, to be honest. But yeah, definitely the right way to set. There's 4 of these that I could have searched through the list and just checked those off. Cool. What else? So yeah, you could use different currencies. And then typically, you know, these are the 4 major credit cards in the US. Sometimes with like Authorize.net, and not anymore with PayPal. Sometimes you have to go into a separate contract for American Express, or if you don't want it, sometimes American Express charges a different fee. It's less often the case now. I don't think Stripe does. They, you know, manhandled American Express. But if you only want to accept certain credit cards, you can specify that there. And we do PA-based sales tax if you need to, but tax is even more complicated. We'll cross over that. Cool. And some of these other settings. So SSL seals aren't as popular. People used to put like a little graphic from the GoDaddy SSL on their website. And we have settings for like trying to keep your site SSL secure. Most websites now, it's called really simple SSL or really simple HTTPS. But I use that plugin on most of my sites. And it does the same kind of thing that we do, just kind of try to keep you from getting SSL errors, which are like the errors that show up on your padlock. That's what that last setting was related to. There's some email settings. By default, WordPress is going to send email. I don't know if you've noticed this in general. Like WordPress makes up an email address, wordpress@yourdomain.com. And it sends all email, like the password resets from that address, which probably isn't a real address. So one thing you want to do is double check here and make sure you put like a real website address in here. Sure. And then you can change like the name it shows too. And PM Pro, like this, we filter all emails. So once you save these settings, we also will filter like your password reset emails and stuff like that. Here's some other email settings about like, do you want to send emails in these different use cases? And there's some advanced settings. I don't know if I'll change any of these for now. No. Cool. So now I have this set up already, so I can kind of show you what has happened on the front end. kind of nothing, right? Like it created these pages, but they're not linked to. So all people who have been browsing my website won't notice yet that I have Paid Memberships Pro installed. But if you go to one of the pages that it created, and I know them by heart, but if you forget, you can go back. You can either look at the pages here to see the ones that were created, or you can go to the page settings and it'll show the list. And so for instance, like here's the levels page. I click that link to view. And this is a page that we've set up, the membership levels page, right? Which shows those 2 levels I set up. And if I say, hey, I want to join the Cool Club, it shows the Cool Club. This is my description I put earlier. This is the price. And now it's integrated with Stripe. And I can use a fake credit card because this is a test checkout. So there's these all 4 twos is like a test Visa number. And I can check it out. So I'm joining my own website right now. And my card was declined.
One thing too,
Yeah.
and I dealt with a person today. When you're an admin, you're not. You don't have a membership level yet. So
right. Yeah.
Taken by surprise that all of a sudden you can do these things, but you don't have a membership level. You would have to assign it.
Yeah, because even it's.
So Kim,
I don't. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, Kim, are you saying that you would need to have a dummy account that he would sign up with? Like not be signed as an admin?
No.
Okay.
You would have to add that level to your, because what it does when you create a membership is you get a user account, like a WordPress user account, and you get assigned a level. But since you're an admin, before there were levels, you don't have a level assigned to you. So you don't have the same privileges.
Follow you. Okay, I was thinking something else. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm actually changing some of those advanced settings so that I can change something. So by default, like we hide member content from searches and archives. So it'll look like it doesn't even exist, but there's a setting here to let non-members see at least the title, but we'll lock down the content, but we'll like have it show up in searches. And I changed the setting here to show excerpts. So sometimes you want to show like a teaser. And we'll see how that works. It should generate like an auto excerpt. My blog post should be long enough to do that. But what I wanted to show was I want to find that. I don't know why I chose the fat blogging embarrassing category instead of like one of the other ones. But that content was hidden until I saw that. Like, remember I checked the category, the fat blogging category, don't show it or require membership. So even though I'm an admin, I still don't have access to this because I'm not a member. And that's what Kim was trying to say. So you might think like, hey, I'm an admin of the site, I should have access to everything. But that was a choice we made where, and we reconsider this every once in a while, but we just want to make it more clear. Like, this is the membership experience. Like, you actually don't have access to your own content yet until you become a member. Now, you don't have to pay yourself. You can just go to your profile and browse down to the bottom. We add a section here where we add membership level. And so you can give yourself the Cool Club for free and set it to never expire. And you could do this with other users too, not just your own profile. And now, shoot, let me try to find my content. I guess did I change I thought I had a tab here. But now when I search, you see I have the full access to the content of these posts. They're not blocked for me anymore. Now I'm not sure why the checkout didn't work. I might have put my, we're doing it live. I might have put my my keys in incorrectly. Oh, you know, I'm using.
I was gonna say, I think you put in your live keys.
Yeah, yeah. So I go back in PM protesting, and this is a test account anyway, but if we go to keys, yeah. So for Stripe, we'll give you like a toggle here. There's a toggle down here in the bottom left, and there's a toggle here on this page to view test data or live data. So even on my live accounts, I can kind of still run tests. So I used quote unquote live keys instead of test keys. And we have a setting here on the payment gateway you know, is this a sandbox or are these the live keys? So when you're setting up a site, you want to kind of put the test keys in so you can test things first and then change over to the live keys when you're ready to go live. But it lets you test your website without putting a bunch of charges on your credit card. It is good. I would say, like, if you're setting up a membership site or an e-commerce site, I'm kind of surprised people who don't do this, because many people will launch, they sent the email, they said, come to my website, give me $100 for my content. And then they send the email out and then it doesn't work. And they get emails back like, hey, I'm trying to give you money, but I can't, it broke. And I'm like, you didn't try like a test with a real credit card? And like, no, never. So I think it's a good idea to try at least one test with a real credit card before you share a link to potentially get money. So you can just check out for your own site and then go back into Stripe and refund the money. But if you do that too often, both Stripe and the credit card companies keep track of how often like individual credit cards check out on your website and how many refunds there are and things of that nature. So if you're testing with credit cards on your site and giving yourself refunds all the time, it generally isn't a problem, but it could start like setting off alarms and like the fraud detection algorithms and stuff. And you'll find like, you know, your credit card might deny you somewhere else because they're like, I see suspicious activity on your website, like, or on your credit card. Why did you check out 10 times and get 10 refunds, you know? So yeah, this is testing. And hopefully now I can probably check out. So I can, oh, so the other thing is we don't automatically place things in your menu. So I kind of saw that, I've joked like you come to your website and it didn't change. So what you'll want to do typically is go to, you know, appearance menu. And then, you know, you can throw in the account page. And you can throw in like the levels page usually are the two that you want to add to the menu. We also, I guess we do log in, log out somehow, but I don't remember, that's a new feature and I'm not sure how they do that. Yeah, so we can add a login link and a lot. These are new 3.2 features. So we'll see how they work. And so yeah, let me see how my website looks with that. Maybe I might not want them there. I might want to move them, but it fits. It kind of fits here. So if you click membership account, it takes you to your profile page where it shows I am a member now because I gave myself a member and some of my information. In the new version, what we do now, like there's front end profile editing. So this is kind of nice. All your members can change their info without viewing the dashboard. We don't hide the dashboard, like I'm an admin, so I can get in the dashboard. We don't by default keep subscribers out of your WordPress dashboard. They'll get like I can show you actually.
I like that new change, Jason. That looks good.
Yeah, we're excited about it. People have been asked about it forever. Oh, am I having CSS issues? Maybe here we go. I said we were doing it live. Yeah, that's weird.
I joined your site.
Looks like Theme My Login's not right. If you
This is actually, yeah, this is, oh, maybe because Theme My Login's installed.
I know that's what you guys use, but I like the front end. That's going to be, that's a nice addition.
Yeah, you guys will help me debug it. I said we're using like the unreleased version. So you can help me like debug in real time. Yeah, there's a plugin called Theme My Login. It's network activated. Okay, so this might be like a weird, I bet this is a multi-site bug. I have Theme My Login network activated and it's causing, but Theme My Login is a plugin. I use it on every WordPress website. It basically like, it draws a login like this on your front end of your website at /login. Instead, this is the action, but so I think we somehow busted that in the new version, at least on multi-site. So this is good. I got to find this bug. Let me see if I can actually.
It's just CSS. I think I put a fix in for that.
Did you?
Yeah, a year ago though. Like on the live site, we had that same problem.
It might be related. Cool. So I'm gonna join on a fake account because this is fake money. Let me try my fake credit card number again. It should work now that we've sorted out the API keys. Fingers crossed.
Taking a little longer.
Yeah, it's probably talking to Stripe. So this is that
There you go.
confirmation page. And I'll get an email like with an invoice at my email address. And you'll see like I have a version of the admin bar here, so I can get into the dashboard, but I don't see anything too exciting. I get like the news and I have a profile page with limited options. There are plugins to, we have blog posts on our website to help you through this, but there's a plugin to hide the admin bar, and there's another one to just keep people out of the dashboard. Theme My Login also has like an add-on to like keep people out of the dashboard. So we might in the future like build that into the plugin now that we're foraying into the themed login territory. But there's other plugins that do that stuff really well. So that's why I said about like even within your WordPress website, I embrace the plugin model. I think you'll often hear people say like, how many plugins do you have on your website? Like I think our paid memberships pro site has like 70 some plugins, and people will wince and be like, ouch, that's way too many plugins. And I'm like, is it though? Like this is like a website that does, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales and runs our business, and it does a lot. And we have like membership plugin and a bunch of marketing tools that we're using, and we're doing SEO and we're doing caching and we're doing, you know, all kinds of stuff with WordPress. And it's not necessarily just the number of plugins you have. It's you want to take care to use good plugins that play nicely together. And that's hard for, you know, non-developers to understand, but that's why you come to meetups and stuff like that to get the lowdown. Like, what did you think of Beaver Builder versus Elementor? Which one, you know, like works better? So yeah, I embrace like plugins is what makes WordPress great. So there's a plugin for front-end logins. Like you should use that for that. There's a plugin for restricting the dashboard. You should use that. We kind of encourage people to, even just within WordPress, like, hey, build stuff together. So cool. Now I guess I just demoed becoming a member. I could take a pause and answer questions, and I could show some of the MailChimp integration. But yeah, I think maybe if I answer questions now. Does anyone have questions? Or Kim, if you...
Yeah, can people unmute themselves?
Oh, maybe, do I have to do that?
I don't
I have
know
a
if I can
question.
unmute myself.
I have
Yeah,
a
I think
question.
they can.
Okay.
My question is, you mentioned content is written content, your blog. Can it be
Yeah.
video, audio, podcast? Can I have that
Yeah.
as the paid site and the different levels?
Yeah, definitely. So in theory, anything you put in this page is going to be restricted. Now you'll see my YouTube history. Here we go, relaxing ambient music. I'm trying to just grab a random YouTube link. But if I put like a YouTube URL in here, and I update, let me log out to my test account. I guess the short answer is yes, but I wanted to kind of show you. You'll see like that video is hidden. So anything that integrates in the plugin and puts content into the like post content area is going to get restricted by PM Pro. Now actually look, like the excerpt shows the YouTube URL, so a smart person could find that. I can
But what if it was my own content, my own audio files or my own video files?
And so what you would do is when you're hosting media like that, you don't typically want to host it on your WordPress site because the bandwidth hosting cost is a lot for video in particular. So there's tools for podcasting. There's other plugins and tools that will host your audio on a CDN, a content delivery network, or somewhere else. And they'll give you like a URL to share. Or for video, like I would encourage using like YouTube or Vimeo. are real easy places to put your video, and then you would put the link into the blog post. There are like media players. JW Player is a popular one. And there's a whole slew of them that have like marketing functionality and stuff. But all of those will host your content for you and give you basically like the URL to the file or like an embed that you put into your content. So this could just as easily be like a Vimeo embed, which has some more protecting features. Like YouTube video, you can set it as private, but people who can find the URL are going to be able to, you know, get to the video. But hosting services like Vimeo and Wistia and things like that they protect the video and make sure it only plays on your domain and have like other features to kind of keep people from downloading the video.
Yep.
But I use the more tag there. Like, I don't know if you use this in general in WordPress, but there's a setting in Paid Memberships Pro to show or hide the excerpt. So I said, yeah, I want to tease people with my content. So show them my lead in, my excerpt, but hide everything else. And because my video was so far up the page, the like little excerpt, it chopped, like showed the URL so people could sneak it out. But if I put the more tag here, it makes sure that the video is after the excerpt so people can't see it. But if I was logged in with YouTube, I could find this URL and then send it to my friend who's not a member. And depending on your membership site, that might be good or bad. We often recommend, some people get very, very protective of their content. So you think of like Metallica trying to keep people from sharing their MP3s on Napster and stuff like that. So people are like building content and they're charging money for it. And they're like, I don't want, you know, other people to be able to see this unless they're members. And there's a whole kind of spectrum of things you can do to lock down your content to keep people from viewing it. And in general, like I support open source. I kind of have like a freemium business model in general. So I'm a little biased towards it, but a lot of times you don't have to get as crazy about locking down your content as you think you do. Like if you only put videos on YouTube at private URLs, and sure, anybody could kind of share a single post, or maybe they find all your videos and they, you know, they send links to them. So people will be able to get your videos for free. But I think in the real world of like, I guess I'm thinking, is it Jay who has like digital content?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask a question.
Oh, okay, yeah, good.
Well, the question I just asked in the chat was how well this integrates with Woo without additional add-ons.
Yeah.
Because like, here's an example of what I was thinking about. So what if I had a subscribing member and they pay $20 a month and I want to give them some perks. So like they get one free download that normally would cost $50 a month, right? So is there, or like maybe 10% off or 20% off all purchases?
Yeah.
So is there a way to integrate that with Woo so that Woo knows they're a subscriber on a certain level?
Yeah, totally. We have an add-on that we maintain, Paid Memberships Pro, that integrates with WooCommerce that does exactly that. So
okay,
you can find it on our website if you go to add-ons and then search for WooCommerce. And so that's an add-on that, so you would have to have WooCommerce, obviously, if you're selling stuff with WooCommerce already. And then if you say every digital download had like a separate, you know, virtual product in WooCommerce, but you wanted members to either get some of them for free or at a discount, you could do that with this add-on. So you can either make membership products if you don't want to use the PM Pro checkout page, you can make a WooCommerce product. And then whenever someone checks out for that product, they get a membership level. So that basically, you would set it up so that instead of using our checkout page, you're using WooCommerce, and that part's optional if you want to do it. But the thing you want to do then is like pricing by membership level. We add this extra tab into WooCommerce that says, hey, for every membership level, what's the price for this? And then we also have like a global discount, which I think maybe you mentioned. Yeah, like, hey, every member gets 25% off.
Oh, cool.
So, and this add-on is also free. So all our add-ons that integrate with other third parties are free in the .org repository. So you can see that on our site, or this is also in the repo.
If you want WooCommerce to take care of your subscriptions, though, you would need their plugin, right? The which costs.
Yeah, theirs is pretty expensive.
Yeah, I mean it's so.
It's actually there's two, right? Skyward and
there's a few.
Prosperous.
Yeah. So I like WooCommerce subscriptions, which is Prospress, which was bought by Automatic and WooCommerce recently. But yeah, WooCommerce does only one-time payments by default. So if you want to do recurring payments, you need to buy one of their subscriptions. But if you had Paid Memberships Pro and you set it up with Stripe, you could, send your member checkouts to our checkout page. And if they wanted to buy things, one at a time, they would go to you could, both like WooCommerce and PM Pro will live side by side on the same website that way. But I guess I was talking before about locking things down. So if you send someone like a Illustrator file or some kind of, a 3D asset, once they get that file, they can send it to their friends or put it on a hard drive and share it. And you can only do so much to kind of stop that from happening. And I'd say like, if your customers want your content for $0, like all your content for $0, like, and if they can get it that way, like some people are going to get it. And it's better to kind of embrace that that's happening if possible than to fight it. So if you're at the end of every video, you don't assume they're a member. You say, hey, and if you really enjoyed this content, make sure you're a member over at therealJasonColeman.com/videos or whatever. If they happen to share your video, every time they share your video, it's a pitch for your membership. And eventually the real people who want to pay you money, like your customers that you target, the people who your content speaks to best, like they're going to want to become a member because they're going to want their own account. They're going to want easy access. They don't want to have to wait for their friend to send it to them. They want to be able to go to one website and just get it all. I don't know if you have like the New York Times kind of has a model where you can use incognito mode to view their posts, and they're like, you have 5 free articles.
Right.
And I read New York Times incognito forever. And then at one point I was like, you know what, like, screw it. Like, I have the money I'm going to pay. And I became a member. So that same kind of thing plays out on websites. Now, it depends on the content. If you're selling something that's kind of like, secret insider knowledge for an industry and you charge $1,000 a month, which is something that some membership sites do, then you might want to get a little, more protective of your content. And there's things you can do like 2-factor authentication and, I don't know.
That's all great information. Thank you.
Yeah. I could talk forever on this.
Is a quick little piggyback question on the My Account. When you with WooCommerce, it automatically creates like a My Account where you can keep track of your purchases there.
Yeah.
I'm sure this looks like it has its own My Account page. Do those two merge, or how does that work with 2 different My Account?
Yeah. So we each have our own account page, and they're pretty similar, like you said. Now there is a way that you can merge them together. We have a post on our blog at paidmembershipspro.com that talks about how to do that. But you basically, you would choose which one you like. Well, I don't know. Is it easier to? I don't know if you can as easily merge the WooCommerce stuff into our admins, maybe, but you definitely can merge our stuff into WooCommerce. Like we've tried to play nice. So there's like a short code here.
Okay.
And when I edit the pages, you'll see there's a short code. We also have a block now. But if you just place this short code into your WooCommerce account somewhere, and we have a blog post that talks about like the best way to do that, it'll show both like account sections together. So definitely, usually when or BuddyPress is another one, like creates its own profile, its own registration page. It takes a little bit of work to like wire them together and try to redirect some pages to other ones. Like definitely sometimes we have our page settings, but if you're using the WooCommerce account page, you can then say like, find it in this list and say, oh, like I want to use the WooCommerce account page, not the PM Pro one.
Right. So bypass that.
Yeah. And if you're not using our checkout at all, you can even say like my checkout page is like the WooCommerce shop page. You have to be a little careful. Like some of these pages are required, but in general, like the account page, the checkout page, the levels page, you can switch to other pages, and it kind of is hiding the PM Pro version in favor of the other one. Or there's ways to do it the other way around too. If you like, like the PM Pro account page, it's just a page. So you could add short codes to it or a custom code to say, show the WooCommerce information on the PM Pro account page,
Right.
Jason, I'm going to have to jump off, but
yeah,
I'm shipping actually a multi-site, a PM Pro multi-site if you want me to test anything on that version that you have.
Maybe I do think that so that login page is new for 2.3 PM Pro, and
Okay.
it's either something someone thought they were fixing in a patch like a second ago and they didn't notice that it was showing the login form 3 times, or I think multi-site is, that's it. Like multi-site is different enough from single, normal one-site WordPress that every once in a while plugins have to account for it, especially.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I'll reach out behind the scenes.
I'll ping you on Slack then. Thanks.
Yeah.
Jason, quick question, clarification on the pricing. Unlimited is still yearly, right? That's not lifetime.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's
perfect. Okay.
Yep. So if you, so for PayMerchants Pro, like I think Kim White said, we embrace open source, and so the free is in speech, and also the free is in beer. Like our core free plugin has more functionality than most premium membership plugins, and we really embrace it. And there's 90,000 sites using Paid Memberships Pro, and like 5 to 10,000 have paid us at some point. So I don't mind that there's 80,000 sites using it for free. So you can get a lot out of the free theme and do almost everything. The plus level gives you our access to our support, and then also automatic updates for some of our add-ons. So our add-ons that integrate with third parties, like the WooCommerce add-on, we release those as free in the .org repository. And we do that so that it's easier to, it takes all the, like the business, what's the word I'm looking for? Like conflicts of interest out of it. It's like, hey, WooCommerce, Paid Memberships Pro, we have this other free thing that we're both going to jointly support. And other people, not, it's not just people I pay to support those plugins. Every once in a while, we get bug fixes from random developers who run into things. And so all of that is easier to do if you're not putting a price tag on that integration plugin. So we try to keep the integration plugins premium or free rather. But then some of the other plugins that add functionality that's specific only to certain kinds of websites and things like that, we require a plus to get from our website. But we also put everything for free on GitHub. So if you're comfortable downloading zip files from GitHub, you can find all our code there too. And so Unlimited is, go ahead.
And there are other plugins that may not be listed on our site that have their own integration that they take care of, but they may be paid.
Yeah. So everyone's, Yep. So yeah, just like WooCommerce, other developers have built plugins like that work with Paid Memberships Pro, and they charge separately for, the plugin.
I think that LearnDash integration is when you have a paid version of LearnDash, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're only costs.
Yeah. Yep. So LearnDash has a premium plugin that integrate with us. There's a way to integrate with LearnDash without using their premium plugin. And we're building like our own events plugin that we'll put out for free, that it'll have limited courses. It'll have limited and Paul actually helped with this, I think, in the early days. We're still working on it, Paul. It'll have limited course functionality, but then also integrate with LearnDash. So we're kind of building our own version of that. But yeah, that's a case where if you pay the premium license or LearnDash, one of the add-ons they give you is, to integrate with PM Pro.
Buddy Boss, which is something I just learned about working for you. There's integration, they charge $40 for that.
Yeah. Let me look at my note. Oh, so like for digital downloads, if you're already using WooCommerce, I would look into using PM Pro and our WooCommerce add-on. That would help. And then how do you protect the files is kind of interesting. Kim White and I, we were just working on that for site together. So you could be loosey-goosey about it. Like I said, like, hey, just keep the URL from getting out, and, kind of use the honor system in downloading files. But also, if you're going to host those files on your website, there's ways to like use Apache rules to keep people from accessing the actual files unless they're logged in as a member. And that's a little bit of technical stuff, but usually we like our paid support will help you figure it out. Like Kim White will do it for you, or it's not too hard. It's a little tricky, but it's not too hard to figure out for a developer. And then co-working. Okay, yeah.
Have you guys ever used was it AWS to store files, Amazon?
Yeah, S3. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do that. We have an add-on. It's not advertised, but we have an add-on that helps to protect AWS contents that's in S3, and it kind of integrates with their like permission model. It's a little technical to set up. We've been trying to make that like user-friendly. One thing you'll notice, like Paid Memberships Pro, it's probably the most flexible membership plugin in terms of integrating with all these other things. Like it probably would be pretty hard for y'all to stump us in terms of what's not possible. But that said, like it's developer friendly in some ways. Like the cost of being able to like integrate with like Minecraft servers, WooCommerce, and AWS is that, you know, we don't have the developer time to make all of that easy as clicking one button. So a lot of our add-ons, and we'll show, like if you're on our website and you're finding add-ons, I'll try to find like a few different ones. We'll have some that are like easy. We show like a little meter of how hard it is to integrate. I'm trying to find a hard one. Sponsored members, potentially. Yeah, here, sponsored members. So here's a plugin that just adds the first name and last name to checkout. It's like ease of use 4. Like you just activate the plugin, it adds fields, and you're done. Like that's kind of a no-brainer. The BuddyPress integration, now it's funny, like 3 means that you have to, there's settings. So you'll activate it and then you have to do some settings. That's being a little generous towards how easy it is, because BuddyPress in general is not like easy to set up. It doesn't, so the difference between 3 and 2, it doesn't necessarily require development, right? It's like, this is meant to be only settings, but it's intense. If you like, BuddyPress does a lot. If you're not familiar with it, you could have 7 different meetup sessions about it. And then our plugin that integrates is pretty complicated. And then stuff like sponsored members. This is an example of a plugin that it's a really cool functionality. You can have, an organization would buy 1 membership and it would give them 10 seats that they can share among their team. And all 10 of those people gain membership to your website. So there's 1 person who pays the bill and there's 10 people who gain access to your website, kind of a thing. But it does require programming to set up, and there's a bunch of functionality. And this is the kind of thing that we found, I think other plugins call this like umbrella memberships, or there's some other terms for it. You say sponsored, there's another one that's popular, like a way to describe what this is.
Would that be like a student teacher thing?
Yeah, we have one specifically for student teacher. That one's not advertised, but that's a use case for this. Like teachers sign out, they get 10 codes to give to their students, and now all their students have access. But it requires, so what we found with this and a lot of integration scenarios is that every membership site has different ideas about how it should work. And to be able to support all those different like use cases within the use case would take either a screen with a bunch of settings, or what we encourage, especially in the early days, is like, hey, like there's going to be code, but you hire a developer and they write this code for you. And now it works exactly for your website and you don't have to worry about like the settings. It means it's less for us as developers to maintain. We don't have to maintain a settings screen that handles every use case. And so it makes it flexible. And we kind of have like a conveyor of plugin. We like, hey, this would be neat to integrate. And you're like, all right, here's like some custom code to do it. And we share that on our support forums and to developers who are asking, like this, this is code that does it. You have to figure out how to get that code on your website. And then we're like, hey, a lot of people are doing this. Let's build a plugin to support it and keep all the code and logic together, but you're still going to have to write code to set it up. So that's kind of where the sponsored members is. And as this gets more popular, like this is pretty popular. So we're in the process of like building a UI around it, make it easier. The top, 5 of the 10 use cases we're going to support as easy as possible, and build documentation and videos and make it easy. So yeah, that's just to say, like some of our add-ons are just click and install. Some of them are more developer focused. And that's just some that's what we help you through as a member, or if you email us for stuff, or just ask somebody who knows. Go ahead.
Are there limitations on the free account? Like if I just wanted to install it and try it out and see how it goes with like limited users?
No, there's not. So that's another, like, this is true of most plugins in the .org repository. They have rules against what they call like crippleware, like you didn't pay me, so functionality stops. But we're pretty liberal and lenient in that case as well. So all the code in the core plugin works even if you're not paying. And if you download plus add-ons and you stop paying, like the add-ons don't stop working, they keep working. The only thing we do is we nag you like once a month, I think it is now. Like a little message will pop up only like if you're looking at, oh, this is my live site you're seeing instead of the demo site. Like when you're in the membership dashboard, we'll put like a little message like, hey, actually, I'm surprised I didn't get one yet. Oh, because this is multi-site, I've already dismissed it. Or it'll pop up and say like, hey, like we encourage, live sites to enter a license key, and it sends you like into our, into this page to buy a license. But you just dismiss it once a month and that's it. But yeah, so you can definitely use it for free forever. And use our contact form and say, I talked to Jason at the Lehigh meetup and he said you should help me, and reach out to me for questions. And I'll kind of answer them as much as I can. And we'll answer as much as we can through like the free channels on .org. We answer questions on .org if you like find the, the forums there, and definitely by email. And we kind of push back when it's too much. And we say like, you're doing something kind of complicated. So either hire a developer who knows this already, or like if you give us a, if you pay for support, we'll keep helping you.
Yeah, makes sense.
Got to draw the line somewhere, right, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but yeah, it's like you have to charge.
No, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Oh,
Very
good.
passionate. When sometimes some people will ask for things and I'll go, oh no, we can't do that. And Jason will go, but if we did this and did this.
It's easy. Like, I mean, I was doing that with like, not just me, but the other people on the support team too. Like we're problem solvers. So all we see is like a technical challenge, and we're like, I want to figure that out. Like I see, and that's like a lot of the job I do, like managing the support team. And there's a manager in between me and them too, is trying to like teach them how to not do too much, like enough, but because we're not like outsourced developers. We only want to support this plugin. We go above and beyond, I think, than the typical WordPress premium plugin. One, just because it's kind of part of our value system, but two, like I said, like I know that this is a complicated plugin that often takes development. So if I'm saying, I'm kind of signing up for that. Like I'm saying, hey, use PayMerchants Pro every once in a while. You need some development. It'd be, I feel responsible to kind of, help more than, we don't just say, hey, that takes development and give you no help. We send you a list of developers. We send you like the outline of how to do it. And for a lot of things, like we will, if we're able to like quickly, like we just, we'll code like a little bit of customization for you.
I've really enjoyed it.
But it's hard. You got to figure it out. Okay.
Yeah. Well, when you support, I did a BuddyPress integration for somebody and I learned so much doing, and I was just so excited. It was like, and I was thinking, wow, I can't believe we did that. I mean, I was happy I did it, and I was glad they were happy, and everybody was happy, but I was glad that I was able to do that for the customer.
Jason, I probably have to say the one thing I do like what you guys do with your add-ons is there's a variety, no doubt, to cover them all. But I think also that you do so much stuff to help support different payment gateways around the world. Didn't you just add something new? Did I see? Was it Vietnamese?
Oh yeah,
Vietnamese gateway.
That's right. So we weren't involved in that one, but they put my name as a contributor.
Okay.
And we had to reach out to them. That's a tricky thing too. Is like, what's an official PM Pro add-on versus something someone else did? I think I did talk with them and give them help. Like I might have even done a pull request on their GitHub repository to help them to get it work. And maybe I do this all the time with other gateways. So but there was like a Vietnamese one that just launched this week.
Well, you've got stuff in South Africa, and I know you got some employees there, but you're covering the world, so it opens up. You're not saying, oh, Stripe or PayPal.
Yeah. So I appreciate that's funny you point that one out because we're like, hey,
I saw it. It's like, wait, did they just see something?
I think I did a couple pull requests of like, and I told them like, hey, here's some bugs. Here's how you do it. Like, we'll help developers who are trying to integrate. So I did that, but now it looks, they copied all our branding and stuff. So it looks like an official plugin.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, so we have to figure that out.
Wasn't there another one, Automate WP? I think I saw this week too, or last week.
Oh yeah, they built integration, and I like that one. Automate WP it looks like it's kind of like a Zapier, but within the WordPress,
right?
Like inside your WordPress website, and so they built that. I wasn't involved in that, but it has like different triggers. So like whenever you become a member, you can force another plugin to do something. And those things are cool because we end up we have all these plugins, like you said, and we get in trouble. Like we have to maintain them. Like Get Response updated their API and our plugin doesn't work anymore. MailPoet updated their stuff and our plugin doesn't work anymore. And it's
Constant Contact one word.
Yeah.
I thought that was one that wasn't working.
I think Constant Contact I think doesn't work, but someone else built like a Constant Contact. They say they put code that kind of works, but I think that one's out of date, I think, as well. And so it's like work for us if we were to overhaul the code to integrate, but things like that, WP Automate, whether that one's going to become it, there's a couple others that are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to live between some of the WordPress plugins and other services. So if we integrate with them once, then they integrate with somewhere else, then like it's a little one place to maintain. Instead of a few. We're trying to do that in the future. So we do that with our events plugin. We build it as one plugin that innovates with 4 different events plugins. And our courses plugin is going to be one. So it's still work to maintain like the differences, but it's a little bit easier. But yeah, that's what we, all the money that we get from selling memberships and support goes towards paying developers to keep things in order, But yeah, I'm going to remove this stuff from my website because I don't actually want to turn this on yet. But I might eventually. We'll see.
Is that extra revenue stream?
Yeah.
One thing I would say, if you're new and you're doing this, to really make sure you have your payment worked out, and I know you said that too, because like you said, a lot of people will send people to the site and find out the payment isn't set up right. To really take the time to make sure your connections to your gateway or PayPal or Stripe are working back and forth, because I see that it's probably one of the big support things, like, oh, why isn't this working? And sometimes it's they don't have that connection set up exactly right.
Yeah. And
I would agree. That's kind of what I'm struggling with something. That's why I knew were some of the things you were looking for, Jason, because I've spent the last 2 days in Stripe a lot and testing some stuff. Oh no, that's over here. That's over here.
Yeah, they're moving stuff around lately. So yeah, my muscle memory hasn't updated to where their stuff is yet.
I mean, Stripe even goes, I don't know what they changed the way it works with Gravity forms. All of a sudden, my Stripe form, they're like, oh, we're taking away the Gravity thing.
No. That was Gravity forms that deprecated the credit card field because they've got the new features where you've got all the SCA compliant, where you can use the elements, which is from Stripe. Yep. So you can embed it into your page, or you can use their new one, which basically can take Apple Pay and Google Pay, but it opens up like another window. It takes you to their site to fill in that information.
Yeah.
So it's the SCA compliance I think they're really pushing the most.
We had that update last September for Stripe to support SCA. We kind of had to overhaul our Stripe integration, and some of it was technical behind the scenes. Won't even get into it because it's just confusing. But on the front, for implementers, the credit card fields now are like an iframe into Stripe for security reasons, where they used to be fields that we generated. And so if you had styled those fields, like we did our best to kind of try to pass the style that your WordPress site has to Stripe so it looks the same. But if you made your checkout fields pretty, now they are hosted on the Stripe website in an iframe, so you're kind of limited in how you can style them. So that kind of stuff comes up. And so that's with elements, and then definitely the modal, the next I forget what it's called. But
Yeah,
like the version of Stripe where it's a modal pop up and you can choose different payment methods that,
yeah,
that's
because it auto detects, like if you're in Chrome, it picks up Google Pay. If you're in Safari, it picks up Apple Pay.
that's cool. Yeah, we're working on that.
Well, and I don't even think it's, I'm just coming from the side of people who help other people, not just, but all over. They think they can build a site and just like, oh, it's just supposed to work.
No,
Oh, no,
You
I
have to invest a little time to make sure.
agree with you 100% on the testing of the payment gateway, because you don't want to all of a sudden, triple bill someone's card because you didn't test a back-to-back, month-to-month testing, day-to-day type of thing.
yeah.
Or that they're talking back because
Right.
say, oh, my subscriptions haven't been updated, or they haven't gone, to take the time to, see what happens when you cancel, see what happens.
Yeah.
I have a warning on one of my sites that I came across today that it's still set up for a deprecated version of Stripe. So I got to get the login and get that fixed.
Okay.
I got to go do a bunch of those.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, great. And it's for a nonprofit that's doing their golf outing, hopefully in September. So I want to fix it now.
Well, I don't want to keep everybody too long. We could stick around and talk for a little longer. Jason, this has been wonderful. I know I'm biased, but mostly everybody stuck. We had about 5 people had to step out. They all wrote really nice things in the chat.
Cool.
I think we got most of the questions answered. Ken was really good about putting links in there.
Awesome.
Yeah, there was one, Jason, somebody asked about page builders. So I went and found, I know Kim had written up something about page builders fairly recently in the last few months, or it's stuck in my head. And I'm like,
yeah,
weird.
That's one where, so a few releases ago, we added support for page builders, but in the sense that like, let's not break when the page builders are activated. Because that's kind of a thing, like I said, anything in that WordPress, the content area, we know what that is and we can control it and hide it from members and stuff. But if you use a page builder, it kind of moves your post content into like a unique table, and the page builder displays the content in its own way. So we used to have tutorials on kind of like how to use custom code or different solutions to get that to work. But now it's built in for a few of like the most popular ones, it's built in. I think we don't do Divi yet, but I can look at the rest. No, yeah.
A lot of people use Divi.
I know.
Yeah, so it's kind of different for each one, but I'm looking at the list now. I'm looking it up. So
I know Elementor was in there, and I forget what else.
Site Origin. Which one is that?
Site Origin. See, I see people put Site Origin on with. I see people putting a lot of different ones together, and I think sometimes that gives them heartache.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So
different page builders.
Yeah.
That'd be a bad idea.
Yeah.
At the same time.
So if you reach out to us, we help. That's one thing we do in customer support. But it's so Site Origin, Elementor, and Beaver Builder in 2.3 are supported in that they don't break. You can do the front end editing. Beaver Builder and Elementor, we also add like membership restrictions to their, I forget what they call them, their blocks or their cells or their rows. They have different names for the sections.
Sections.
Yeah. I forget what I don't use page builders either. I just fix the bugs. Like I know the code better than the like the.
We support
interface.
Gutenberg.
And Gutenberg. Yeah. So we add for like Beaver Builder in 2.3, it'll have it. In Elementor, we have it where you can restrict one of their cells or blocks by membership level as well.
So that's part of the add-on.
That's in the core plugin.
Oh, okay.
The Elementor block.
Hey Jay, I would suggest you spend time looking at their blog and their paid site to see what they've got, because they are continually adding new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Oh, you're saying Jay. I thought you were talking to me, Jay. Okay.
Sorry, Jason. Jay.
Got it. No, it's cool.
But yeah, when I know he asked about the Elementor, the plugins, I remember the blog post. So I was like, this will spend some time reading this.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the video.
Okay. Okay, cool.
But we can keep talking. Thanks, everybody. If you have more information, how can people contact you?
Yeah, so what you should do, find me on my personal blog, therealJasonColeman.com. I'm on Twitter as Jason_Coleman, and that's kind of where I interact socially the most. but the website for Paid Memberships Pro is paidmembershipspro.com, and it's in .org. You can find it.
And if you contact any of the meetup leaders, we have connections to Jason we can connect you to. All right.